I could not make it all the way to China for the conference, but in my place, I'm sending Luke Hale. You are in very good hands. Basically, on our channel because we definitely see the creator economy booming. Certainly on my channel, we're seeing opportunities all over the place. And combine that with China and just everything that's going on there, the huge upside in that market, the growth, it just really was something I wanted to attend, but we just couldn't make it work. So, very excited to see what comes out of this. And you're in very good hands with Luke. Can't wait to collaborate in the future. Luke!
Those of you who don't know Mark, he's a science and technology influencer, and we've established Crunch Labs. I want to talk a little bit about Crunch Labs. There's no good data on this slide. I wish there were, but I asked finance, they're like, no, you can't share any good data. But you can look at this. This was our first product, so right out of the gate, this thing just went up and to the right, and we kind of immediately sold out. And so there was a scarcity effect in the market, which really helped us with the awareness of what this building box product was. But essentially, this is a product that helps kids learn science and engineering through building with their own hands. They'll watch a video with Mark, and through the process, they'll learn about the principles of engineering. So we had a lot of success with this, and we followed it up with additional products. Now this creator kit you see far left is actually, we're still 3 or 4 days here before this thing is totally official, so keep that one under wraps. But we're really excited about developing creativity in a younger audience, and then continuing that journey through learning science and engineering, and then eventually robotics and coding through Macau. So we're really happy with this product line. But what I want to say about Mark Rober's overnight success is that he was doing videos for 10 years, every single month, before he had that overnight success. So his creator business really helped amplify him into the stratosphere, but he was putting in a lot of work before that time, telling really compelling stories. He's very famous for these squirrel obstacle courses, for building the world's largest jello pool, for doing glitter bombs for porch pirates. And these things all went viral long before BuildBox came out. So Crunch Labs looks very differently today than it did when I joined. So if you look at what we're doing now, we have these 3 main pillars, right? So we're doing a lot of entertainment. Netflix is our primary platform, but we're also starting to go really deep in our integration with Netflix, with a lot coming out there. We're of course looking at other social platforms, and then doing other things in the media space. With education, we're putting $50 million of our money and the money of our friends into improving the quality of science education. So we're really excited about this. I can say that right now this is about 60% of our production capacity is just making stuff that you'll never see on YouTube. This doesn't promote Mark's personal brand. This is just about teaching kids about science principles and trying to get them to pay attention in the classroom like they do when they're watching YouTube. In addition to that, we're doing experiences. So we've got this creator kit that I mentioned coming out, our subscription lines, but then we're also going deeper into retail and book fairs and so many other things. And I just wanted to mention in this session when we talk about scale and monetization, I think most creators go on a journey where they start trying to generate some CPMs by getting attention and making YouTube videos. Then maybe they figure out how to attach some affiliate revenue for related products to their category. And then they continue to progress and maybe they start to get brand deals. Those are all things that a creator can usually handle by themselves. But when those brand deals start to get a lot bigger and a lot more complex, like some of these ones that Evan was just discussing, those are ones that you need a little bit of help to figure out. And the creator business goes on from there. I think entertainment and media is another place where there's a lot of money to be made for creators. It is a different monetization strategy. But the thing that I wanted to point out is with Mark Rober's business, when I started there, we could sit at a single table and we could talk about a company-wide initiative to do something like Crunch Labs that affected the product team, it affected the website, it affected the media team, it affected the way that we distribute the product through ops and the supply chain from China. Everything could be discussed sitting at one table. Now that we have a product, a mission that looks like this, that can't happen anymore. And scale was actually our worst enemy. It was the hardest thing to do over the last 3 years, was to take a very small business and become a larger and larger business. because the people that you need are so difficult. Early on, you need these people that can sit at that table, and they can be in charge of 10 things, and they can context switch instantly, and they can keep the whole map in their head, and they can jump into something that they've never done before and figure it out and do it really fast. And then when you start to build this, you need people with deep expertise, decades of understanding of how to attack a certain industry or a certain vertical. And those people are different people, and they're people with different expertise. And so as you go through this process, you are growing a team. You are working with the fact that you have to tell people that you no longer need them to do something that they did before, and you brought in an expert with a decade of experience doing that thing. And all of those create challenging team dynamics, but it is really the thing that is going to drive ultimate success and scale. When I got to work with Mark Rober, I got there week number 1, he said, listen, Luke, I need you to give me permission to have a dog chase me across a college campus in the US, the Berkeley College campus. And as a video producer, I'm thinking, working with college universities, this is going to take forever. It's like, I need to do it next week. And can we also put 30 glitter bombs on porches for the US Halloween holiday that will go off when kids take too much candy, so we can do a viral video about kids stealing Halloween candy? And can you build an acrylic maze for this octopus so that we can get video of it trying to solve challenges? And can you also get me on a Major League Baseball pitching mound by Wednesday? Because I need a clip for this video about the science of pitching. And also, can you start looking at manufacturers that can build a satellite that we can put into orbit that can help us take selfies from space? Because we want to help T-Mobile promote their new satellite technology. And all of that happened within the first 2 weeks, and I thought, this is insane, it'll never happen. People want to say yes to these creators. We made it happen. It was the most insane ride I've ever been on. But what I learned in that experience is these people are nuclear reactors. These people that create content are special. And there's a lot of them that never get to put the ops muscle around what they do to really become successful. And if they can, then you get all of the value of that nuclear reactor to be able to go out and do incredible things in the marketplace. But it really is about ops. That 0 to 1 is hard, but that 1 to 1,000 is also challenging, but just in very different ways. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Luke is very humble not to introduce yourself enough. Luke actually has a background with very big Google bird like apples. Yeah, so and then one thing, last night we had a dinner to talk about having a vision to teach kids for like the science, the STEM in a fun way, which is very important in Asia. I think many markets, I think the parents struggle how to let their children to learn about this scientific or subject that in a more fun way. So we don't have a lot of time, so I only ask for the last question and then to two of you to share. So one is, can you share what is the next big thing in 2 to 6 or the direction that you're working with the channel? And then the other thing is, if you can give one final tips to the creator here, what would be it?
I would like to think exactly.
Okay.
No, I think I can do my best. In 26, we're really excited just because so many things that we've had on the pipe are starting to come out, right? So we've got retail launches that happen in 26. We've got all kinds of fun things. We've got so many things that I probably shouldn't talk about, like trying to capture a lightning bolt to charge an electric vehicle. That's going to be a really fun one. But the creator economy is changing fast. All of the AI things and everything else that was discussed, we're just trying not to get distracted by all of that. It's like there's a huge opportunity for people to be principled and systematic about building really great businesses and connecting genuinely with audiences. And so that's what we're going to do in 26, 27, 28. That's the hope.
Yeah, and again, I'm not sure how much I can even share this, but one of the things that we're excited about, one of the things that we have been surprised about, is one, just how much appetite there is for Mr. Beast content, kind of almost in undifferentiated form. So just, Jimmy, for the first time in a very long time, did a stream recently raising money for Team Water. He was on Aiden Ross, and I think there's at least some initial resistance to the idea of going on a stream just because it's not typically the form that our content is consumed. And the reception was overwhelmingly positive. And we started experimenting a lot with the different kinds of forms of content that we've been trying to do across a range of different platforms. And again, continue to get a remarkable amount of feedback on both Reddit and YouTube comments and so on, where it seems like there's appetite for that. So what we're planning to do over this year, the next couple of years, is kind of build out a Beast universe. So we have, we obviously have the main channel, we have Mr. Beast 2, we have Beast Gaming, we're bringing that back. I think we're bringing a Reacts channel back. We just launched an animation channel. There's going to be both an animation channel for Beast Toys, but also an animation channel, just kind of more broad Mr. Beast universe, things Pokemon meets Star Wars, and exploring all kinds of different content, scripted content, cinematic content. We just did a Feastables commercial that was very much felt like it was not of the normal Mr. Beast aesthetic, and it was much more cinematic and seemed like it was at a movie, and again had really positive reception. So I think what we're excited about is kind of thinking about what the other forms of other channels that we can create, what a Mr. Beast universe actually looks like, that helps us continue to grow beyond just Mr. Beast, right? The concern for us, I think, is, and with every creator, is Keyman risk, right? At some point, Jimmy's not going to be as popular as he is now. That's going to hinder our ability to sell everything. So we need to figure out what's the new IP that we can create, what's the new talent that we can create, what are the channels that we can own. So I think a lot of 2026 and beyond will be about thinking about that strategy.
Very exciting 206 and onward, and thank you, two of them again. Please take a very good time. One thing that we did to make sure they have the energy is yesterday we went to Macau Tower to have the skywalk. And after that, they are all okay. Yeah, so thank you very much. Yeah, so we pass it back to the
Thank you, Ben. Thank you so much. Legend there, we're all going to be hanging around, we're all going to be here at lunchtime. But before that, we have one more session, ladies and gentlemen. The next people on stage have over 200 million followers, ladies and gentlemen. This makes them one of the world's largest channels. So let's find out how they got from 0 to over 200 million. To host the session, please welcome the CEO of Flywheel. He also works with creators such as Mr. Beast, Jordan Matter, and Natia. Please, and also, of course, our next guest. So please give a huge Creator Week welcome to the Stokes Twins. I actually forgot to say that my elbow was stuck.
Okay, the background was good. Good, thank you. Thank you everyone for coming. It's amazing to be here with all of you in Macau, and especially that we have this special humans and creators with us. Some people might not know. They know you as the Stokes Twins, massive YouTube creators, but they don't know that you're actually Chinese American. That you actually from this region. So maybe, yeah, give it up, give it up. Actually your origin story, because you're actually the biggest Chinese American creator on the planet and the second biggest channel on YouTube after Mr. Beast. So why don't you start with just telling everyone here about your background story and the origin of how you started and even where you grew up and your evolution?
Yeah, of course. First of all, super honored to be here. It's actually our, believe it or not, first time ever doing a public speaking event, so. Definitely not nervous at all. But, yeah, I feel like this origin story, we don't really, not a lot of people know, but like you mentioned, yes, me and Alex were born in China, born and raised there, and we can actually speak fluent Mandarin. 大家好，我叫陈亚凡，我叫陈亚丽。Yeah, we were born and raised actually our grandparents raised us until we were 6 and we moved to the US with our dad for the first time. And at the time we didn't think he was our dad, we thought our grandpa was our dad. And I remember both of us crying. He was this big, scary, American, 6'4" man. And anyways, from there, fast forward a few years, I remember one of the first birthday presents we got when we were 10 years old was actually a video camera without a memory card, and which meant we could only do 10-second videos, which required the perfect take. So essentially, we were buying before buying, but we were only showing the videos to our friends and family just to get the reactions. And from there, we developed a huge passion for YouTube. We watched YouTube all the time, and we would make videos for like the next few years just for fun. But fast forward to us in college, before we entered the medical school program, we looked at ourselves and asked, is this something we actually want to do? Do we really want to be doctors? And we decided to move to Los Angeles instead of finishing college, essentially without a plan. And I think that was really important for us because we didn't have a safety net. So if it all fell, we were going to just go back home and have our mom basically tell us, told you so. And I think that was really important for us to go in there and learn and really grind it out. We were sleeping in our car, on our friends' couches for like, what have you, for close to 2 years. And it wasn't until this one breakthrough video we did on YouTube, what it's like to be a twin. And from that video, we were able to move from our car to our apartment. And basically have a home where we could go to and unwind and just grow and strategize what we wanted to do next with content, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And from there, we were able to get to where we are today in 2025.
And where we are today is a quite unique place with 160 million subscribers on YouTube and more than 200 million across platforms. And very few people get to get these numbers. And maybe can you share more about, from you talked about growing up and moving to the US and going to college and deciding to go all in on content. What was the process in the early days, and how did you evolve as creators with the platform, especially during these days when a lot of people are going on the platform with short-form content, getting a lot of subscribers, when you are one of very few creators that are doing very well shows, but also have massive viewership on long form, which is probably one of the biggest challenges for creators these days. Can you maybe share more about this process now? You can tell the secret, it's okay, it's gonna stay here.
Yeah, definitely a really great question. I will definitely say we made a lot of mistakes starting out, and it was very important, really important for us to learn from these mistakes. How can we improve? How do we not let that happen next time, throughout our evolution as creators? And I think what me and Alex decided to do every year, we would just sit down for the last month of December, we would think of strategic initiatives for next year, what we want to be doing different. We always wanted to do something different. What is something different that we can do compared to last year? And one of the big things that we realized early on in content was we noticed, even early on before we started dubbing our content, we had a huge international viewer base. So with that, we really had a plan to globalize our content. And at the end of 2024, we experimented with a few languages, and we had really rapid growth from some of these languages. I believe we grew 100 million subscribers in around 6 months just from expanding, globalizing our content. And
Wait. You cannot just say it like lightly. You grew 100 million subscribers in 6 months.
I believe so. I think 1 month there was one day I think we had 4 million subscribers grown just in a single day. This was when we were, a lot of things, we made a lot of strategic maneuvers, and that was, I believe, close to 5 million subscribers in 24 hours that we gained from.
So if you guys don't globalize your content, usually by dubbing, this is something anyone should definitely look into, especially now when YouTube offers this to basically for free. So that you give a lot of credit to the growth of the channel, to globalization of the content dubbing, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say it depends on your channel, what it is you're trying to go for. With our content, we always really focused on making videos for all audiences on YouTube. It depends, like if you're making videos for yourself, for your friends, for like certain content niches, it's a question you really have to ask yourself. If you realize that maybe your content is better fit for like a certain content group, better niche, it is very, very expensive, but I would say it is a case-by-case thing. If you're making content and it resonates with a global audience, then that's something. You can definitely start light and test a few videos, test a few shorts. And if you see a few shorts take off after a month or two, that's definitely a good indicator. But my recommendation would definitely be, you can always test it, and it's just a question I have to ask yourself if it is an investment you have to take, because yes, we spend a lot of money investing in globalizing our content for sure, so very glad that investment did pay off.
Sweet, and if we're talking about the process of creating a video, there's so much to get into it. There's obviously the pre-planning and then the production and the post-production, and obviously you need to think about distribution, the algorithm, you know, hook, retention, everything that the best creators know. Can you guys talk a little bit about the process and your process of creating videos and what makes you guys different?
Yeah, well, we like to call this the A to Z process that basically from the conception of a video idea to post a video idea, and also like the post-mortems of what can we learn from this video, what's gone wrong, what can we do different next time if we were to do a part 2. And I think early on, we taught ourselves to wear all the hats. For example, we taught ourselves to, when we bought a camera, we taught ourselves how to take pictures, how to film videos, how to edit videos on Final Cut, how to storytell, how to script write, how to direct, how to be the talent in the videos, how to be creators. And from there, I think it was really important for, essentially, Alex, you have this look in your eye where you look like you have something to say. Hey, what was the question again? Sorry.
The question was about the process of making video and what makes you guys different and leading to the success. So just to understand,
Ó João,
you know,
vai lá ajudar o
watching
rapaz.
YouTube videos,
Tu vais lá ajudar. Você, cara.
So wanted to learn more about how you guys think about it, how you think about you guys as both the talent, but also very hands-on process to better understand your process of making a video.
Yeah, so it's definitely a lot more than just picking up a camera. Had a lot of people tell us that when we first started out, that anyone can was just something that's picking up a camera. Definitely a lot more to that point. It was definitely important for us to wear all the hats and learn every single process along the way, especially at the beginning. That's like my #1 advice to anyone who's starting out as a creator. You should definitely learn all the processes before you hire. Right, and from there, when you do hire the right people to free up your time to do things that are more important, such as ideation to video, being in the video itself, I will definitely say that from there, it's very, very important that you just make sure that your creative DNA is still in the video, right? Because if you don't understand the process A to Z in every single department, whether it's from the script writing, the ideation, the production of the video, post-production as well, learning how to study the analytics of the video, things to avoid, things like that, that whole process. If you don't understand that process, then having a team that has never done YouTube before, it's very hard to engrave that DNA into them. So definitely learn all the processes. For us, we definitely spend, depending on the video type, right? We spend multiple weeks on a video. sometimes our scripts are 40 pages long on a video, and I would definitely say that
Block it.
So if, just to connect to this point, so you do tons of preparation before 40 pages scripts sound like a TV show. And you're also saying that you're very hands-on, you know every part, similar to a bit like a McDonald's manager that need to walk, to flip burgers and walk the cashier and in the floor before they become manager, right? So you're going through the same process. Maybe talk a bit about like ideation. You come up with an idea first and then try to reverse engineer the video from that. Like, how do you even start?
yeah, that's definitely the most important. Great question. I feel like a lot of creators don't realize how important the idea is. That's definitely 90% of the work, because once we pick the right idea, everything else, once I know this is the best idea possible to this video, the A to Z process becomes so much easier. It eliminates all the doubts where, hey, is this the best idea? What if I were to do something differently? I think that's something that my advice, something we just ingrain and drill through art. It's a fundamental we have. It's idea is absolutely the most important thing, and that's what you should be spending most of your time.
Sweet. So that's very important to know. Idea is super important. I want to jump into something that everybody's interested in, the business of being a content creator. So we have two ways to think about it. There is the brand and the brand deals, and then there is the other business of building a franchise around your content, your IP, your name. Let's start with brand. We have a lot of brands here. They're all looking to work with creators like yourself and others that are here and help get their story, their product, their services out there. How would you recommend these brands that have these big budgets work with people like you in 2025 and 2026? How is the evolution of creators working with brands happening?
Yeah, I would say well, it had been around 2018, 2019 when we were working with brands, or have creators working with brands. The old school way was brand reaches out to an influencer and pay them to do something and just hope and pray that it gets views. I think those days are definitely dead, and brands are getting a lot smarter, and they want to invest in the right creators. And I think it's super important for us. We're super selective on creators, not creators, but the brands that we work with and want to expose our audience to. And instead of focusing on brand deals, we definitely want to be focusing on the right brand partnerships. And we think it's just such a huge collaborative effort. We're exposed to part of the right brand. It's super important that we create a successful partnership rather than just a one-off brand deal and just have one side feel a different way. And yeah, so we're just super selective and very careful about this.
So switching from brand deals to brand partners. What's up with you? More long term instead of just one-time deal. Let's be partners, let's work together and have something more long term than just one-off. That's one of the ways that you're thinking about corporate brands.
Yeah, precisely. That's definitely the goal. That's what we've been kind of opening our doors to this year, just trying to navigate and find the right partners and the right brand partnerships. Like you mentioned, we're very, very selective on making sure what the audience is exposed to.
Makes sense. Now, if we talk about the business and how the business of creators evolved, it started with brand deals, but now, we have creators here, representative of Macau and Mr. Beast, and we have John Mayer here, and these people are obviously the top of YouTube, but they are also the role models, like you guys, of other creators and how they evolve. So obviously Mr. Beast has now different businesses and different shows, and Macau subscription box, and now announced the show with Macau. How do you guys, as one of a bunch of very few creators that have this massive audience and community, thinking about the Stokes empire and the Stokes franchise in terms of this evolution of both content and businesses? Are you thinking about products or maybe creating other shows and formats?
Yeah, the dynamic. I feel like the market's been super dynamic this past year for sure. We've been approached by large media companies for partnerships, but I think me and Alex have really been we see YouTube as the mothership, and we've been just focused on content first. And we definitely have a few exciting things coming up that that we'll share when the time is right.
Stay tuned, everyone. Maybe some news coming out soon. So we talked a little bit about the business, and we talked before about content, and we see now, especially we're here in Macau, and amazingly they got some of these bigger creators coming here and thinking about content more global. And we see because platforms like the biggest TikToker on the planet literally does not speak English. The biggest show on Netflix, Squid Games, is from Korea. So we see more and more this, cross-border, east-west happening. Obviously, you guys did it on YouTube. How else are you thinking about content globalization, both on YouTube and also outside of YouTube? Obviously, China, YouTube is inaccessible in China and most Western platforms. I don't think China, you're Chinese, maybe there's something there. What are you thinking about content globalization and your evolution around different platforms and content types?
Yeah, we definitely have a huge passion for China, and it's one of these projects that we've been looking into and trying to find the right partners with, and trying to enter the Chinese market. We have plans for sure. We speak the language, we have family in China, we visit all the time, probably 7-8 times a year. We just love being in China. And I think it's just a very, one of these things I always ask myself is, what is something that I want to be doing and where I want to be spending my time? And China's just been something that we've been super passionate about growing up. We used to go back every summer for the entire summertime. And, just if we have, given the right opportunity with the way things are, and if we're able to partner with the right platforms and just be able to globalize our content in China, since you mentioned, yes, YouTube is not accessible in China. I definitely think we can create some really great custom pieces. I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to mention, but yes, we have been approached by certain shows in China.
Para onde somos nós os dois ali?
Collaborations like brand.
Vou fazer por isso.
And product. So definitely have some exciting things coming up and a lot of ambitious plans in China for sure.
Literally yesterday I offered them to join us for dinner. Like, no, we have the protocol, we just haven't had.
Yeah.
You want to tell them about the protocol? Maybe you're going to save them some time.
Yeah, well, we have this plan. Every time we come back to China, about 1 week before, we will mess up our sleep schedule and essentially go to sleep later every day, probably an hour later. So we go to sleep at midnight. By the time we leave for China, we go to sleep at 6 a.m. And we always take this midnight flight. So a direct flight to either Hong Kong or Shaolin. And when we wake up, it's essentially 5 a.m. there. So we basically train our bodies to get ready for the jet lag. So by the time we're here for like the next week or two, we're going to sleep at 8, 9 p.m. in China and waking about like 4 or 5 a.m. And that's just our way of, we've never really experienced jet lag in China. I mean, I guess this is jet lag for us, but yeah, we have like a foolproof plan.
Guys, this is the content that you didn't know you need, but you do. If you're taking one thing from this conference, is how to avoid jet lag. This is very
Definitely take the night flights
awesome. Well, you guys you're very unique because you're twins. Can you share more about this life of working together with family and especially with a twin? A lot of big creators talking about, it's so hard, I don't have time, I wish I could clone myself. You literally did it, or your parents did it. Tell us more about the experience of working as twins and being big creators as twins.
I feel like Alan should answer this question, but I'll definitely start it off. It's funny because, meeting with creators, one of the most common things we hear is, how do I clone myself? How do I save time? How do I train this person to do X, Y, Z? And essentially what Alex has done with me is, we're twins, he's kind of cloned me in the last like 5-6 years. And I think what's great about having a co-founder twin or clone is essentially we've cloned ourselves to be clones of all the departments. And I know when people clone themselves, or to talk is, they clone themselves to kind of, for example, you can clone someone in like the creative department and the ideation department and the production department, another one in the editing department. And I think with us, we have cloned ourselves in every single department. So what we've been able to accomplish is, in a way, with a very lean team, because we're able to see the X, Y, and Z through the entire process with the conception of video idea versus posting video idea, rather than hiring out 100 different people or 50 different people to kind of clone themselves through like the process. And I think we're just able to split the work very efficiently, and we just understand that we just take radical ownership over everything. Yeah, I can definitely speak a little bit more on that, because initially social media was my idea to do. I approached Alan, I want to say like 8-9 years ago, about doing this whole social media thing, right? And my plan had like a 5-10 year plan on how we were going to be successful in social media. And keep in mind, this is when we were in college as well. But my first pitch to Alan, he kind of just laughed and was like, dude, come on, like, this is literally impossible what you're trying to accomplish here. And it wasn't until like 6 months later where I tailored my pitch a little bit more to Alan, where I was kind of just telling him, like, hey, you don't have to do anything. I will do anything and everything you can think of. I'll film everything, I'll edit everything, I'll think of all the ideas. All you have to do is show up as talent, right? So definitely the first 4 years of us creating content was a lot of restless nights for me, doing every single thing from anything you can imagine. And throughout the years, Alan definitely learned a lot of like what I was trying to do. Up until I would say about 3 years ago, he came to me and said, hey, I think I've learned enough. I can definitely step in and help in areas that you need. And from there, having someone who learned the process, saw everything, living together, spending 24/7. No, we hadn't spent a day apart up until we were, I believe, 22. So definitely.
That's crazy.
He left me. Yeah, he left me on our birthday to go spend with his a special someone back in the day. But I was alone on our birthday. That was our first day apart from each other. So from him being able to be with me pretty much from the womb, understanding my decision making, problem solving, I basically had like a business partner that I trusted from the beginning process to the end, who could take radical ownership and oversee the entire process. And I think the point that he was trying to make was, a lot of companies and creators, they try to clone people, but I believe you can't fully clone someone from beginning to end, right? And my point of that is, most of the time, they have like a clone of, hey, you are gonna clone, you're gonna copy my process in terms of, here's how I think of a video idea. So from ideation, there's the ideation clone, there's a creative scriptwriter clone, there's a production clone in terms of, hey, like, I know how much money this person wants to spend on a project, and these are shortcuts that this person wants to take. And then there's like the post department clone, where he knows exactly how the creator wants the video edited art like, right? So for us, he's at every single process for me. He is literally my clone, twin, clone, and also in the business part. And yeah, just having someone like that is definitely, I don't think we would have been able to do what we've achieved without each other. I definitely think it's a very unique position that we're in. I truly think that a twin brother is the closest you can be to someone, an identical twin brother that is. And the number one question we always get asked is like, what is it like to be a twin? And my response to that is,
I don't know what it would be like without a twin. So definitely it's a huge blessing to have someone that you trust and are so close to and understands you in every process, emotionally, physically, mentally, as a business partner. So definitely it's a huge blessing.
Oh.
I've never coached that before, but
It's almost a full cycle because your first video on YouTube where you guys broke through was about being twins.
yes, yeah, it was the most commonly asked question, so I kind of got sick of answering those questions on what's like